Hello everyone and welcome back to Steel Division 2. Today we have a out of normal video. It is a tier list about German tanks. And what are we actually saying in here is if you had all these tanks available in a single deck, like in a war game, which one should you bring first? So basically, I'm going to rate these tanks on an equal basis of having them all available. So, for example, in a deck like Koruk, you would have the T-34 1942 that you would absolutely want to bring first, or things like that. Well, none of this matter in this deck. I'm just rating these tanks on their efficiency into the game, based on my beliefs, on my opinion, on my playstyle, and things like that. So, let's start first. If you had all of these tanks, which one should you bring? These are all the tanks available in the German tank tab of all divisions. There's not a lot when you look at it, but there's enough to, do your business, your dirty business. So, in S tier, super strong, we have the StuG IV. So if you had a StuG IV in any deck, you would absolutely want to bring them first. These, you just don't go around it, you take them, and that's the end of it. Why is that? Because they are super powerful, and you know what? In fact, I'm gonna open the game right away while we talk. These StuG IVs are the best medium tank I think a person could bring. They are very strong. They are they shoot from afar. They got very good armor. They got 100mm armor, if I am correct. Whereas the regular StuG IIIs have 90mm armor. It's not a big difference, but it's enough for a lot of AT guns out there. It's enough for a lot of tanks. It just gives you that extra oomph. So if you want that extra oomph, well then you go for the StuG IV. And here I am now in the game actually. Oh wait, do you see the same thing as I see? No, you're stuck with that window. Alright, so I'll just remove everything here while you can take a look at the tier list and write your angry comments right away. Alright. Tank. Where are these StuG IVs? I'm gonna bring you to that window as well as soon as I find them. There you go, I found this StuG IV. Alright, let's go to the game window. And for this, I'm gonna... Okay, there you go. I just have to do that. Alright, welcome back. And, oh, by the way, these have different skin. This one's better. Okay, so that is the StuG IV. It has 100mm armor. It goes at 38 speed, which is, a bit less than the StuG III, but still. It does. It has the same gun, the same machine gun, the same everything pretty much, but it has an extra 10mm armor, and that's gonna make a world of difference for you on the battlefield. So definitely you want to bring them. These are available in these decks: the 5th SS, the 11th SS, the 20th Panzergrenadier, the 17th SS, and the 122 Infantry. So StuG IV, I name in the reigning champion. It is what you want. It costs 85 points, so it's not much, and it does 135 mil damage over a long period, over a long distance. 1750 meters is pretty good. It's not gonna do that much distance damage at that distance, but still. Then, well, I don't think anyone could argue that the StuG IV, right? So then we have the Panzer III L. If you could bring a second tank out of them all, it would definitely be that one, and let me explain to you why. Here you have, well, first of all, you got 150mm of penetration with these tanks. With the APCR, you get 4 APCR, which is good enough to last them while they live. But 4 APCR is good enough. AP does 100mm damage, so it can destroy StuG IV, it can destroy Panzer IV, it can destroy T-34s. You know, it really is a great tank. Now, not only that, they cost 40 points, and they have a base accuracy of 60%, which is enormous. Their APCR shoots at 1K though, and their AP goes at 1500, so that's their drawback. But it doesn't matter because, you know, at 70mm armor, 30 and 40 on the side, you don't want to bring these guys up in the battle. You want to bring them in ambush position where it will do a lot of damage. Treat these like a tank destroyer, basically. And it's too bad we don't have many skins for them. But yeah, and then if you bring them, it's really easy to bring them to double vet and even 3 vet, because most often they'll be coupled with wait, really? No, they're not gonna be coupled with these dudes. They're gonna be coupled, you know, you can bring Panzer leaders with these dudes and other leaders, whatever. And you got a nice vet curve as well, so in some decks you can bring them at 4 double vet, and 4 double vet is a lot for phase 8. I think it's a lot. So yeah, these are the second most important tank you could bring. They have 2 MG34s. They do a lot of suppression. They're really good against infantry. They're good against tanks. They're not gonna survive long, but they can still survive quite a couple blows. So then in third position, oh, I had forgotten to show you the Panzer III. There you go. There it is. You can take a look at for yourself. All right. Okay, so let's go back into the window. Now you could, in third position, you would want to get the T-34-85. And where is that tank? We're just gonna go and take a look at. Let's go into medium tank. There you go. Now these guys are available in a few decks. Vet curve is usually generous with I think Panzerwerben and maybe Ski Jager. I think 5th SS is not that generous. Anyway, most is generous, so you can bring them double vet with 4 availability. I mean, it's a classic T-34 without the APCR. It's a 1943 variant. And double vet, they do a lot of damage. 145mm with just the regular AP shells. They cost 100 points. They go at 1750. They have 110mm armor. I mean, why wouldn't you bring these? These are the Soviet workhorse, and they do excellent in your deck. So every time you see these, you really want to bring them. So that is it for him. Next, in fourth position of super strong and of always bring them with you is the Sherman. Here they are, available only in the 21st Panzer Division, but if you do play this division, you absolutely want to bring these guys. They got 100mm armor, so they're the tougher ones. And they do, you know, their regular 90mm penetration. They cost 80 points. And, well, you know them, it's a Sherman. And they are very good at suppressing the enemy. They got 3 machine guns with them. Unfortunately, one of them is going to waste their ammo on airplanes, but that's another story. Yeah, if you got this in your deck and over everything else that is on this map, on this image, you want to bring them first. So just with the first 4, you would be good enough for the entire game. That's pretty much all you need, in my opinion. And the 2 others are just, you know, butter on the bread. So Panzer III H is the next one. Let's go take a look at them in game. Panzer III H, I guess they would be, no, they would be in medium tanks. They wouldn't. Okay, they're not light, but anyway. I guess by this time frame they're pretty light. Alright, so One of my favorite, the Panzer III H, are really good. They come extremely well with the vet curve there. So I think you can bring 5 of them double vet or something like that, which is great. They usually do come with the Panzer III leader in these decks. And I mean, I play Panzer Verband a lot, and they've never disappointed me. They do a decent amount of damage, 70mm. You can get most tanks destroyed by hitting their flanks. You want to use these guys in a town, maybe forest if you feel dangerous, but usually in towns where their range is going to be, you know, CQC, and you want to bring them in packs of 3 with a leader, bringing them all to 3 stars, because then you want to go, you know, on the side of tanks, you want to do some maneuvers, you want to do stuff like that. It got 65mm armor. It's not the greatest, but they do have a road speed of 40 kilometers an hour. That's good, and a range of 1250. But you really want to use them in, I'd say, 500 meters would be ideal. And in last position, we have the Panzer III G. So let's go find this guy right here, actually. Available only in Kuruk. It's pretty much the same thing as the other, but it has less armor. So it has 35mm frontal armor rather than the 60 that we have here. Again, it's a good tank. It's pretty much the same thing. You would want to bring that. Definitely. It costs 20 points. 20! It's definitely, you gotta bring these guys in. Like, the amount of suppression and support they can give to your infantry is just, it's just incredible. Alright, and then, now, this is the tanks you always want to bring when you got them in your deck. And if we were to do a Axis division with all Axis tanks, with all German tanks in it, these would be the ones that you just can't go around. You gotta bring these guys. Now, in the A tier, we got the regular StuG IV. So we're just gonna go take a look at that as well, right here. And there it is. This is 80 points, 135 damage. It's pretty much the same thing as the StuG IV, but it got 90mm frontal armor. It's available in most divisions as well. Yeah, if you got these guys in your deck, you do want to take them over all the other ones listed below in the list. And then, after the StuG III, we've got the Panzer IV J. So let's go take a look at this dude. That's the one here. Why before the other one is because of its price. Basically, it's the exact same thing of the Panzer H, but less expensive. I think the only difference is the traverse of the hull, so how it's gonna travel around. Which isn't that big a deal in the game. I mean, you got a nice availability with these Panzer IV J. You can bring 3 double vet, and so in phase A. So that for me alone is worth taking them over the others. And then in phase B, you would take, you know, the regular Panzer H. So then again, oops, I forgot to show you guys. There you go, Panzer J. Take a good look. Wait, Panzer G. There you go. Take a good look. That's the one we were talking about. So yeah, then next we have the Panzer H. Okay, so there's the Panzer H. And then, you know, same thing. Better traverse speed of the hull. I wish they would tell us these things. This is my all-time favorite looking German tank. Just for the looks, because Jesus Christ, especially with these things there, it just looks menacing. It looks very cool. So yeah, you would bring it because it's, you know, the workhorse. It's 75 points, do 135 damage. They're not very resilient, but you know, double vet them, 3-star with leaders, and they'll do a lot of work. Next is the other Panzer, so the Panzer IV J. this one, finally. This one has 65mm armor, but it does cost 65 points as well. So it's a little trade-off here. I mean, if you do have them in your deck, if that's the only Panzer IV you get, you know, do get them. But definitely you can get the other Panzer IVs before this one. Alright, so next on the list of E tier, we got the Panzer II Lukes. So the Lukes, excellent support. I'm just looking for it here. There you go. Excellent support. Tank, small, fast, doesn't cost a lot. Can destroy tanks in packs. So, you know, like 2-3 of these together. Go for the flank while one keeps them busy. Yeah. This is one of the best support tanks, light support tank, I would say, of the German tank tab. So bring them if you have them. Alright. And then we got the Panzer II C. And I gotta admit, I mean, I love this tank here. So it's a little bit biased here. But look at that. They do 45 damage just like the Luke. They're 25 points, so 5 points less. They a little bit less speed, but Christ, are they cool? They are iconic. They are, oh fuck, I love them. I love the Panzer IIs. Only available in Kuruk though, so that's a bit of a shame. But if you have them in Kuruk, I would recommend you take them and have fun with them. All right, next on the list we have the T70R. T70R. There you go. So obviously at 25 points, this is a good tank. 75 damage, 60 mil penetration. Yeah, it's the regular T70 Soviet, and you want that in your deck. Only available in Kuruk in the game, but still it would rank high on the list if it was available in every Panzer division. Then on the list we have the T60. So a bit of the same here, but just lesser. You'd still want to bring them. Infantry support with that is awesome. So yeah, only available in Kuruk as well. Then we got the T3442, and this is the captured T34 in the German deck. Why wouldn't you want to bring that? I don't know. It's a great tank. I mean, it provides a lot of early phase A support at a cheap price, good speed. Definitely you would want to bring that. The only thing is, well, it does 100mm damage, so that's why I put it before the Panzer IVs. But, you know, it is still a good tank. It is still in A tier, so it's right after the Panzer IV, after the Shermans. It's a good tank to bring. You will want to bring them. And then we have the IS-2 heavy tank. There you go. It is at 200 points, so one of the cheapest of the heavy tanks, and 160mm frontal armor, 200mm penetration. The thing with the IS-2 is that it's not a tank killer. Well, I mean, it could, but it's not a tank killer. It is a support weapon. It is an area denier weapon. You bring this guy in an open plane, the enemy probably won't go there. And I mean, that could be said of the King Tigers as well. But King Tigers, I don't think they perform very well in terms of infantry support. Whereas the Boite Stalin, you know, they have 122mm HE shells. They don't have a lot, okay, but they do have them. And they have, you know, 3 machine guns. They're very, very good, and this is the reason why I would explain spending 200 bucks on them. It's because of their infantry support capacity. And that's why they find themselves in A list. And the last one is the Panzer IV 5. So let's go take a look at it. Panzer IV 5, it's in the leader tab. There you go. Now this one has better penetration than the regular Panzer IV. It looks cooler as well, so why wouldn't you bring it? And well, other than that, it's a normal Panzer IV, but with the chassis of a Panther. And I mean, it doesn't have the same armor of a Panther, unfortunately. Let's go take a look at the Panther real quick. Panther has 130 millimeter, and this one has 105. Is it the chassis of a Panther? Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. It's just not the same frontal armor, it kind of looks, right? Here it is. Yeah, pretty much the same. So I don't know why it got 105. Probably some modification made. And, oh, they probably account for the turret, actually, when I think of that. Because the turret here has a lot of... is much stronger. So, Panzer IV 5, I mean, you get one. So that's the reason why it's so low on the list. But then it's high because, you know, it doesn't cost a lot of money and it's strong. But you only get one. So, I mean, it would be a good idea to bring it in your deck, but it's not as important as other A tier or S tier unit. Definitely a cool unit though. Definitely. Alright, and after that we go to the B, C, and D. So B tier, first of the B tier would be the Tiger. So Tiger, in my opinion, is the best heavy tank. Well, I mean heavy tank. Well, yeah, it's a heavy. It doesn't compare to the others, and that's why the IS-2 is first. Because if you're going to spend 135 points, might as well spend the 200 and just get 2 or 3 of these Boite Stalin. But if not, the Tiger, he is a workforce in Steel Division 2. In my opinion, it is. Sorry. So it has 125 mil armor, 85 on the side and rear, and so that's why I think it's very important to bring a Tiger over Panthers. And Tigers, you can kind of just bring them, and you don't have to really babysit them hardcore, so that if they show their side, it could be not the end of the world. I mean, it could be, but there's also a chance that if it's a light 80 or, you know, a light to medium tank, there's a chance they don't actually penetrate from the side or rear. Whereas the Panthers, you would be dead. So that's why I bring them before. They do 165 mil penetration. It's good enough to kill pretty much everything you will encounter in the game, except, you know, for rare occasion here and there. But otherwise, this Tiger is the first of the heavy / medium tank you would bring in the game. Now, I know this isn't a medium tank. I'm just saying in the game, you would bring alongside other medium like the Panthers, you know. This the decision you would make. It's a pretty looking tank. It's a classic tank, you know, it's a Tiger. So people like to use them, and I would recommend every noob to actually take them. Leave them behind the front line, let them do their 2k range damage, and yeah. So yeah, the Tiger is there in B tier, because I think though, if you could, you would want to bring all of these other tanks because of the price. The Tiger is 135 points, so I mean, it's not cheap by any mean. It's not overly expensive either. It's just the right kind. Anyway, so next on the tier list, we have the Panthers. So Panther D first, then Panther A, then Panther G. And why is that? Panther D, you can bring them double vet, 2 of them double vet in most B phases, sometime in C. But the thing is, they have a nice availability. They have a nice vet curve, I think, compared to other tanks. And they're 120 mil penetration. They do 185 penetration of damage. They got a lot of shells, you know. They're 55 kilometers an hour. They do good. But the problem with them is they have 45 mil armor side and behind, so they get penetrated by almost everything, unless you're from the front. But in this game, the tanks are going to show their side uselessly, and they're really hard. You really need to micro them, and which is why they rank below the Tiger, because they're just 5 points more and they do a lot more damage. But they're really, you need to micro them, and for most newer players, it wouldn't be good. So that's the reason. So Panther D would be first, then you would have the Panther A, and actually why is that? Oh, I think, yeah, it's for the price thing. Panther D is cheaper, it has more availability. Panther A is just 10 bucks more, but it's 10 bucks more, you know, and it does 185 millimeter damage, so it's the same damage. It just had 10 millimeter extra protection, and 120, 130, what's the difference, really? It could be life-saving, but I think you should better be off saving your points when you're spending a lot of money like that in the game, especially if you're in B tier. So, personally, I would take the Panther D over the Panther A. And then in last, we have the, well, let's look at it a little bit more. Let's look at the Panther D skins. Then we got the Panther G. 150 points, 250 millimeter damage with the APCR, 130 millimeter armor. Why is it last? Why is it ranked last of the Panthers? It costs the same thing as the Panther A after all, and it does more damage at 1750 meter. The reason is the availability, the vet curve. You know, you can just bring one double vetted. So in my opinion, they're not that worth it over the Panther A, because when are you ever going to need 250 mil penetration in 1v1? Never. It's gonna be extremely rare. Extremely rare. I don't think it is worth bringing that tank. I think you should be better off with other before. Yeah. Oh, look, there's nothing here. How lovely. There's absolutely nothing. Ready to blow off. Yeah, and let's look at the skin available to him. There's the paint, and then there's the Zimmerit. Both are cool looking. I think the paint is better looking, especially that the Zimmerit was kind of useless. But I don't know. It is good looking. It's like a big waffle, ready to spread maple syrup all over your pancakes. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just it is good looking, but I prefer this one. This is meaner looking. You don't feel like you're going to breakfast with that one. You feel like you're actually at war. Alright, so then after this, these are all the B tier. After this, you would get in C the StuG IV F. And why? I think actually it's not even in the tank tab. I think it's in the anti-tank tab when I think of that. Whoops. Let's go here. Medium tank. StuG IV F. Yeah, it is not there. I think it is only in here. Yeah, there you go. So actually, never mind that. But I guess it is kind of like the other tanks. If you would, let's say they're in the tank tab, these would be the last of the StuG you would want to bring. 70 mil armor. AP is fine, you know, but they have only 5 HE shells. When are you going to use 49 shells anyway? So yeah, that's the reason. How much is the other has? 42, you know. Alright, there you go. So that's my bad for putting them there, even though they're not in the tank tab. But if they were, that's where they would be. Last of the StuG. T-3441, it's a good tank to bring. But, you know, it's not that important to get. Where are they? Here they are. Did you see? There you go. So 41 here, 41 here. They come in, you know, two sides. Rona, division, whatever, and Koruk here. So I mean, they're fine, but they're 75 mil. They do cost 55. You know, they are fine, but you can bring much better before them. And then you got the Panzer 38 T. I think these would be in light. 38T comes in Tatra. I wouldn't bring them really in any decks, but I mean, Christ, in Tatra they are good because they're there for light support in phase A. So do bring them in Tatra, I would say. But if we go by the principle that they're all in the same deck, these would be far down the line. Then you got these StuG M41, 42, and these should be medium. So the M41, there's just a machine gun leader, so I didn't really, you know, make a one for it. It would be at the very, very bottom. But the M42, I mean, came in the new decks of Tribute to Italy. Obviously, it's a Simovente, I believe, and they're okay. They do heat rounds, so you know, at 1500 meters, they'd be good to. They could kill, you know, a Tiger tank on the side or rear. AP rounds, 85 mil as well. They're fine. They're gonna hold the line for a phase, and that's about it. And that's why it ranks so low, because oops, there you go. It ranks so low because there's so much more better you could bring if these were all in the same tank tab. I do bring them in their respective deck because if they do come in phase A, that's a good support tank to have. But other than that, nah, hard pass. Alright, then we got the Panzer L6, and where is that one? Probably in light tank. L6, there you go. Has the Raider trait. I wouldn't bring them. I don't even bring them in their respective 3rd Fallschirmjäger deck. I don't play 3rd a lot. Sometimes I do, rarely. But, you know, yeah, I don't know. They do 35mm damage. I think there's much better you could bring rather than these guys. Pretty useless. Alright, then we got the KT, King Tiger. And yes, I would bring these dudes over the King Tiger. Because these dudes, at least, they would come in high availability and can provide better support. So there you go. In the C tier, we have, whoops. In the D tier, sorry, we have the King Tiger P. Yeah. Why before the H? Well, because it's cheaper. That's the only reason. It is 260 points. It does 230 damage. That's the same thing for the H. It has 180mm armor rather than 200 for the H. It's just not worth it to bring such a tank. It's 260 points. Then you gotta spend a lot on support weapon to keep him alive. You know, recon, AA, maybe other light to medium tanks around, or maybe even a couple of HE support. You know, just to give it a good chance of survival. And keep in mind, this is 1v1, of course. I'll put in the title, but this is really not useful in 1v1. If you know how to deal your tanks, if you're a pro player, yes, you will make this last. But even I was fighting against Quattro U, one of the, like, a D Division 1 champion, and he was coming out with me with 3 King Tiger H, and I destroyed them all. And it was, you know, it wasn't easy, but it was, you know, it was fine to deal with. I had tent guard when I was playing against him, and you know, yeah, they're not especially good. They cost too much, and that's why you're better off with bringing other tanks than this. Now, in second position of the D tier, we have the KTH. So that's the one. Let's take a look at his skin. That's, first of all, that's the 502. That's the skin of a captured King Tiger 502. It was captured, can't remember where. I did talk about that in one of my videos, but yeah, that's a real skin. Like they all are real skins. But yeah, we have this tank captured somewhere in the world. That's the other skin for it. I think this skin is a bit better, actually, when I think of that. Too bad we don't have the sun on all four flanks. Yeah, this one, 290 points, way too expensive. You don't need 230mm penetration unless the tank meta makes a resurgence. You really don't need these guys. All right. Then after that, we got the Panzer VII TP. Where is this? It's right here. All right, so there we have it. 7 TP, 20 bucks, 70 mil armor, 40mm. It's in Korok. It's just there's much better to bring than this guy. That's about it. Then we got the B2, so that would be in heavy tanks, medium. All right, the Char B2, the one of the best tank of its time. But in 1944-45, it isn't worth much. It goes at 28 kilometers an hour. 70 mil damage. It does have a 75mm HE gun here on top of this one. So infantry support would be good. But they're so slow. And they got only one machine gun, which is right here in the middle. Yeah, I don't think that's a good tank. It's a big target as well. If you use that for the memes. Try not to use it. 80 mil frontal armor. Yeah, it's a cool looking tank though. And then after this we got the Samuas, which should be light, I think. Yeah, we got these two, the Samua 35S and the 35R. Wow, they're just useless. I don't know. You don't bring them. Don't bring them. That's all I have to say about them. Oh, there you go. There they are. Yeah, very, very useless. They're 40 kilometers, 60 mil, 70 mil penetration. I mean, they could do some damage if you know how to use them and if you micro them, but otherwise they're a liability more than any other thing, in my opinion. And then in last we have this guy, the Valentine tree. Doesn't have HE shells. Goes at 24 kilometers an hour, 80mm frontal armor, 75. It's just not that good. Let's be honest here. Really not that good. So there you go. This is my German tank tier list. I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, these are based on my own type of gameplay. If you don't agree, you can let me know in the comments. But I don't think much is going to change my mind here. This is how I would play my games. Obviously, I do like medium light support tanks, you know, like the Panzer III H are excellent. Well, all Panzer IIIs really are excellent. You want to bring them in your decks. You want to be good with them. You want to learn how to use them because they're really cost efficient here. And yeah, the StuG IV is going to be the reigning champion. And that is it. I'm going to try eventually to make a ally tank tab. Soviet one. We're gonna start with the Soviet, of course. So I know the pictures are not very good. The pictures of the tanks right there, they can be confusing. That's because it was hard to... It was very hard to find pictures there. They wouldn't accept the one from the Steel Division wiki. So yeah, on this note, I'm going to leave you guys on a small video of the StuG IV and we're gonna get right into that, and that's how we're gonna finish the video as well. If my computer can stop lagging because it's an old piece of shit, we could get to it. And there you go. So let me just bear with me for a second. Window captured. We're gonna go for the... There you go. Ah, there you go. Alright, sorry guys for the wait. It is from some dude's YouTube channel, and I'll just let you experience this. And thanks for watching, and have a nice day.